Hello, church, down here at the church building and getting some things ready for tomorrow. Just wanted to take a moment and remind you of our 30 days of prayer and fasting coming up on June 1st, and encourage you to continue to pray, seek the Lord today, and kind of get finalized in your heart with the Lord on when He would have you to fast. And remember, I'm encouraging you to sign up to fast and pray at least once every week. Maybe a meal, maybe 2 meals every week in June, maybe a day in June to fast each week. But to encourage you to pray, to seek the Lord in that. We want you to be led by the Lord in that. But I believe the Lord would have us as a church to fast and pray. Remember, there's several other churches. I think there's 9 other churches that are involved in this. And up and down California, 1 in Washington, 1 in Oregon. And so I encourage you to really seek the Lord. I think it's important at this time now more than ever. We just saw last night, late in the night, the Supreme Court ruled that it was okay for Governor Newsom to allow restrictions on churches, that he could limit the number of people that could come to church during this time and our capacity and all of that kind of thing. That he could do that because he wasn't singling us out, because that's what he was doing to concerts and theaters and things like that. And so we've been put in a category with theaters and concerts and that kind of nonsense. And so we can't look to the help of men in this time. We need to look to God. We need to fast and pray. And Christians need to be busy assaulting the gates of hell in fasting and prayer. In Matthew chapter 16 and verse 18, it says, "And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." The gates of hell shall not prevail. Gates are for defense. The church is to be on the move. We are to be advancing against the gates of hell. And so we need to charge the gates of hell. We're going to charge the gates of hell in this month through prayer and fasting. We looked at the church's role and the church's job last week. It's not to take up arms, but it's to declare the truth and proclaim Jesus as Lord. And it's to assault the gates of hell with the sword of the Spirit, with prayer. And that's what we have to do. We have to get busy doing that. And so that's why we're going to this time of prayer and fasting. You know, right in the next chapter, in Matthew chapter 17, remember Jesus came down from the mountain. They couldn't cast the devil out. His disciples, they couldn't do it. They were wondering why. And Jesus rebuked them, and he said this in verse 20, "And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if you have a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting." And when they lacked the power to do anything, God said, you got to turn to prayer and fasting. You need to get your faith cleaned up, and we need to make sure our faith is strong. We need to be in the Word. We need to make sure our hearts are right with God. But we need to get cleaned up and our faith strong, and then we have to pray and we have to fast. And we got to assault the gates of hell. And, so I have identified several strongholds that I'll introduce them to tomorrow night that we'll be praying against. And we'll be assaulting, and we have several prayer requests for our church that we'll be praying about. But we have to go after the gates of hell. We need to push back the gates of darkness. Far too long, the church as a whole in America, the churches have left the spiritual battle, and we've behaved ourselves like it was a concert or a theater, something optional. But church is essential, prayer is essential, and we need to engage in the spiritual battle. So I want to encourage you to seek the Lord today. If you haven't already, or if you have, just continue seeking the Lord. Lord, what part would you have me in our 30 days of prayer and fasting here at the Faith Baptist Church? And I'm looking forward to what the Lord's going to do. Now, Satan's going to attack. We need to be ready. We need to be prayed up, and we need to stay close to God. But I'm looking forward to what the Lord's going to do. And so, church, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow as we gather together and come ready with a spirit of prayer, a spirit of revival, and spirit of praise and thanks to the Lord, and be ready for church. But let's have prayed and sought the Lord, and let's get ready to engage the enemy in our 30 days of prayer and fasting. Love you, church, and we'll see you soon.